tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's pugilism, boxing algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. Go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is MKO, pugilism, boxing channel, talking all things boxing, hoping everybody and praying for everybody that you are all safe during this time of this coronavirus business going on right now. Hope you're all safe, hope you're all well. You know, thoughts and prayers with each and every one, with the sick especially, you know, right now. And just here to bring you a bit of boxing talk during this time, hopefully bring smiles to faces and that. And right now I'm going to talk to you about Buddy McGirt, who recently, I think it was 4 days ago, in an article online, there was an article where he was, I believe, interviewed, and he spoke on Deontay Wilder, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, who recently lost to Tyson the Gypsy King Fury by KO. And Buddy McGirt was talking about what he believed were adjustments that could be made. He said he's got some secrets, he's got some adjustments that he believes Deontay Wilder could make. And he, you know, said categorically, said affirmatively that Deontay Wilder could beat Tyson Fury. He just needs to make a few adjustments. There's just a few things, there's just certain things that McGirt knows that Deontay Wilder needs to do in order to beat Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Now, myself, many others included, would say that this is a very unlikely scenario. I certainly would not favor Deontay Wilder in a rubber match against Fury, especially being that this rubber match is sort of gonna take place this year. It looks like it's gonna be this year, all things being well with this virus, and if things sort of recover and things sort of go back to normal by the end of the year, they're talking about this fight happening right now. And I believe with it being an immediate rematch, it's gonna be a big problem for Deontay Wilder mentally to accept the loss. I'm not sure how he is about accepting the loss, but I think it's going to be hard for him on the mental front, let alone physical front. And I think for that sort of reason, and the fact that he has been now outboxed and outfought over the span of these two fights, I believe you've got to favor Fury very heavily to win this rematch, and perhaps win it quicker than he won it the last time. I know that might sound bold because he's not the biggest of punchers, but I think he may, in an immediate rematch, get to Wilder even quicker than he did in the first fight, because he'll have even more confidence now, and he knows how to keep Wilder off balance. But, however, I do think that you can't completely write Deontay Wilder off. Although I don't favor him going into the third fight, I do think I would be a fool, and anyone would be a fool, to completely say this guy's got zero chance, this guy's got no chance. Because at the end of the day, I'd still say he's the hardest puncher in boxing today. He carries dynamite in that right hand especially. So you can never completely write this guy off. You can never completely count him out. And so on those grounds, I've even been giving it a little bit of thought as to maybe what McGirt could mean. What could Buddy McGirt mean by making a few adjustments? And in my opinion, you guys could tell me perhaps in the comments below or whatever what you think about this. But in my opinion, I think Wilder could possibly do the job on Fury, or if not win, make the fight a lot more difficult for Tyson Fury, And I think he could do this by boxing on the back foot, by using movement, using his jab and boxing on the back foot, rather than sort of looking to come forward and take the fight to Fury. I think if he just sat on his back foot, and if he was able to use movement and able to try and make Fury miss, and then try to sort of box as a counter puncher on the back foot, I think Deontay Wilder would have some chance of at least making life a little bit more difficult for Fury if he got his back foot game up to scratch, if he sort of worked on his balance, because what we saw in the rematch was that Deontay Wilder's balance was terrible, really. Fury just sort of pushed him back, and he was on unsteady legs a lot of the time, he claims, due to this costume that he was wearing. But at the end of the day, you know, you do hours and hours of training. You know, I think he's worn weighted vests and stuff in the past, and he wears them for training, so can't really use that. But Fury had him looking unsteady a lot of the time throughout the fight. So I think if he was to address that problem, you know, of having bad balance, and if he was to really work on his back foot game, really work on his movement, and try to sort of box as a counter puncher, and try to bring Tyson Fury onto his big right hand, onto his power shots, I think that's where he may have a chance. And he may have a chance because it will bring that sort of element of surprise. You know, Wilder sort of using a lot of movement, feinting and all this stuff, moving his head, using things that we don't normally see from him, could sort of bring a bit of surprise to the fight and could work in his favor. You know, as we've seen with other fights, a good example, Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton 2. The first fight, Santa Cruz boxed on the front foot, got beaten by Carl Frampton, who boxed beautifully on the back foot. But then in the rematch, Frampton expected Leo Santa Cruz to come forward again, to come after him again, and he would expect to pick him off. But what did Santa Cruz do in the second fight? He decided he's going to box on the back foot. He decided he's going to use his height and reach, and he used his height and reach, and he outboxed Frampton and beat him. The same with Josh Warrington versus Lee Selby. Going into that fight, you know, Selby was seen as the master boxer. He was a guy with all the moves, all the slickness, and good defense, good movement, good engine and everything. Whereas Warrington was seen as more the slugger who threw hundreds of punches around, and the guy who was going to come forward, take the fight to Selby and beat him. But in that one, you know, we saw Warrington boxing as a counter puncher, doing something that Selby would never expect. And him doing something that Selby didn't expect actually worked in his favor and caused a big shock, caused an upset. And I'm not saying this is a guarantee to happen with Wilder versus Fury 3, but I am saying that if he could box on the back foot, use his jab, use some movement, and try to be a counter puncher, try to bring Fury onto his shots, this may not win him the fight, but I think this could make the fight more difficult for Fury, and this could present a stiffer or sterner test for Tyson Fury. And again, people, you know, that's just my sort of opinion based on what I've observed from both fighters. It would be interesting to see how a guy like Fury, who moves so well and can do pretty much everything, fight going forwards and backwards, it would be interesting to see how he deals with movement, how he deals with a guy that can move and a guy that can punch. And once again, I'd still sort of favor Fury to win, but I think boxing on the back foot might be something to give him a little bit to think about, might be something to give him a little bit of trouble. That's just my thoughts on it. You know, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and to subscribe to the channel. Until the next video, it's MKO Pugilism, over and out.